6 Amazing Castles. Number 6. Alnwick Castle. The origins of Alnwick Castle date back to the Norman period. Located near the town of Alnwick in Northumberland, it is about 30 kilometers from the border between England and Scotland. Since 1309 its story has been intertwined with that of the Percy family, a family with a history as illustrious as the castle's own. The second largest inhabited castle in the UK, Alnwick has served as a military outpost, a teaching college, a refuge for evacuees, a film set, and as a family home. One of the most interesting facts about the Alnwick Castle would be that it is used for numerous movies and TV shows. One of the most famous uses of the Alnwick Castle would be its use in Harry Potter. The castle became empty in the late 16th century. The designer Robert Adam carried out many renovations, and the castle was again decorated in an Italianate style during the 19th century. It attracts over 200,000 visitors each year, making it the 10th most visited stately home in England. Number 5. Conwy Castle. Conwy Castle is a medieval fortification in Conwy, on the north coast of Wales. Built between 1283 and 1287 by King Edward I, as part of a bigger project to build a walled town called Conwy. The castle was designed by the master builder, James of St. George. The castle sits on a big rocky ridge made of grey sand and limestone. Most of the stone that the castle is built of comes from the ridge. Conwy Castle is defended by 8 large towers. It also has 2 barbicans which are outposts or gateways that are used for defending the castle as well. The outer ward house the Great Hall, kitchens, stables and prison. The inner ward is the heart of the castle, containing the suite of apartments for King Edward and Queen Elena in 1283. The castle is sometimes called Conwy Castle. This is because it was owned by the Conwy family at multiple times in its history. Conwy Castle fell into disrepair by the early 17th century. Charles I sold it to Edward Conwy in 1627 for £100, and Edward's son, also called Edward, inherited the ruin in 1631. This gritty, dark stone fortress has the rare ability to evoke an authentic medieval atmosphere. More than 180,000 people a year visit Conwy Castle now. Number 4. Heidelberg Castle. The Red Wild Castle, nestled in the hill 80 meters above the city of Heidelberg, stands the breathtaking Heidelberg Castle. The earliest castle structure was built before 1214 and later expanded into 2 castles. However, in 1537, a lightning bolt destroyed the upper castle. The original watch house was destroyed in the War of the Grand Alliance, and replaced in 1718 by a round arched entrance gate. The Great Heidelberg Tun is an extremely large wine vat contained within the cellars of Heidelberg Castle. There have been 4 such barrels in the history of Heidelberg. In 1751, the year of its construction, the present one had a capacity of 221,726 liters. Due to the drying of the wood, its current capacity is 219,000 liters. It is the world's largest wine barrel. Heidelberg Castle is definitely the most popular castle ruin in Germany. The majestic palace sits prominently on a hill overlooking historic Heidelberg. The Heidelberg Castle Festival, which is held every summer, is also held in the castle courtyard, where musicals and theatre shows are held. Nowadays, the enigmatic castle attracts several million tourists each year. Number 3. Mont Saint Michel. Located off the coast of Normandy, Mont Saint Michel is an island commune. It can be reached in 3 hours by train from Paris. Covering 250 square acres, Mont Saint Michel has a circumference of 1 kilometer and rises over 90 meters above sea level. Its structural composition of how it was built from top to bottom was meant to represent the feudal society that constructed it. The top part is homage to God, the abbey and monastery are below, then are the great halls, then are the stores and housing, and at the very bottom, outside the walls, are houses that were intended for fishermen and farmers. During the Hundred Years' War in the 15th century, the Kingdom of England made repeated assaults on Mont Saint-Michel, but were unable to seize it due to the abyss fortifications. This turned Mont Saint-Michel into a symbol of France's resolute resistance against England. Louis XI of France converted it into a prison. By the time of the French Revolution, this island prison held up to 300 priests who opposed the new French Republic. Mont Saint-Michel has deadly tides. The tides can vary by as much as 46 feet between high and low water marks. The island is cut off from land twice a day at high tide. Every year, over 3 million visitors are drawn to Mont Saint-Michel. Number 2. Neuschwanstein Castle. Neuschwanstein Castle is perhaps Germany's most easily recognizable tourist attraction. Known often as the Disney Castle. With its towers, turrets, frescoes, and throne hall, Neuschwanstein looks like it was plucked straight from your favorite fairy tale. The Neuschwanstein Castle was built for only one person, the King Ludwig II. However, Ludwig slept only 11 nights in the castle. There is no throne in the castle, as the throne hall was not completed before Ludwig's death. Ludwig was Richard Wagner's patron, and many rooms of the castle were inspired by Wagner's operas. Even so, Wagner never had a chance to visit the castle as he died before its completion. Despite Ludwig's grand plans, only 14 rooms are currently finished and on view for visitors. On the guided tour of Neuschwanstein Castle's interior, you'll have access to the cave-like grotto, the king's bedroom, and the singer's hall, among others. Neuschwanstein Castle was built in the 19th century, and it served no defensive purposes. Neuschwanstein is so immense though, that in some days it is visited by up to 6,000 tourists. Number 1. Windsor Castle. Built in the 11th century after the Norman invasion, England's Windsor Castle is the oldest and largest occupied castle in the world. Over the past 900 plus years, more than 30 monarchs have called it home, and it has also been the site of several royal weddings including Prince Harry's. If you want to read the juicy bits from Queen Victoria's journals, or the private letters of King George III, they're all tucked away in the Royal Library and Archives in Windsor Castle. Windsor Castle is guarded by a detachment of guards in traditional red tunics and bearskin hats. The castle employs more than 500 people who live and work for the Queen. Windsor Castle has inspired King George V to change the royal family name to Windsor on the 17th of July 1917. Within the castle, Queen Mary's dollhouse was built between 1921 and 1924. The dollhouse is one of the largest dollhouses in the world. Windsor Castle has the oldest working kitchen in England, which has served 32 monarchs, including the Queen. In 1992, the castle was destroyed by massive fire, and over 100 rooms were damaged. The castle was rebuilt, and the cost of restoration was nearly £40 million. The solid price was paid by the government of England. Don't forget to subscribe, and press the bell icon for more.